Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. It's that guy, and guess who I got with me today? I have Kay Sanders here. Now, this is a transformational success coach. She is certified in the Akashic Record Guide. Check that out. And for those of you who don't know what the Akashic Record is, I suggest you do a little reading because we'll get into it anyway. But Kay and I were sitting here debating because we have such a wealth of information that we can give you. We were like, what do we really want to talk about? So a couple weeks ago, I sent out this thing because I was listening to Killer Mike T.I. and David Banner. And it was a Black Expo. And they were talking about how they should have Black businesses, how the African American community should be promoting more business. And I'm like, yes, that's all well and good. I'm down with it. I'm down for anybody, especially in this day and age, because the industrial age died. So we have to get back to what I remember as a kid, where there was a corner store, small business. There was a cleaner, small business. A neighborhood would sustain itself. But I have a question. You ready for it, Kay?
Sure, hit me.
Where do you get the money from?
That's always a good question, right?
You stew that one over. By the way, like I said, I got Kay Sanders here. She's fabulous. But we're going to talk about these things about, getting in touch with yourself, right?
I think so.
Why
yeah.
do so many entrepreneurs, struggle with creating like financial success in their business? Things like that.
Yeah, that sounds right. That's definitely a good topic to talk about because so many people do struggle about that. And, like what you mentioned about, where do the money come from? I mean, all these business people, they're saying, well, get a business loan. So basically they're saying you're supposed to start a business and already go into debt. I don't really believe in that.
You don't?
No.
So,
I guess it depends what kind of business you have. I mean, I work from home, so I didn't need any kind of investment. All I needed was a computer, internet, and a phone.
Okay, let's digress a little bit, okay? How's about that?
Sounds good.
So how did you get into your business?
Well, I actually, I was working in a PTSD treatment facility, and that's when I learned about the whole life coaching industry. And it really blew my mind. So I'm like, okay, I can actually do something to help other people get better and learn from, basically what I've gone through, because I had PTSD, anxiety, the whole 9 yards or whatnot. And when I came across the coaching industry, I'm like, this is like an amazing industry to go into. I can work from home. I don't need to have actually brick and mortar business. And eventually I can travel the world. And I can help a whole lot of people.
Right.
So that's really what got me into the coaching industry. And it's like, I want to have a lifestyle where I don't have to have a brick and mortar business, where I don't have to have all these expenses and those type of things. So that's why I really chose the coaching industry. And I love coaching. It's actually pretty fun.
Yeah. It's always great to help people. So when did your journey start?
Oh, my journey started 2006 when I came all the way from Germany, and my ex left us 2 months later.
Oh.
Yep. That's when my journey started. Because
Servus, guten Tag.
Guten Tag, wie geht's?
Yeah, wie geht's gut, bitte.
Bitte, danke.
So, that's really good because that gives you a different perspective than someone who is ingrained in this soup, like particularly in America, because it literally is a soup. And it's kind of like when you ask a fish about the water and they're like, huh?
Yeah, true. Yeah, it's definitely different here.
In the European culture, and I don't mean to really delve in this, but it's a good point of jumping off in the fact that they've structured things a little bit differently here. There versus here. Here, you're pretty much on your own, because that's one of the things my wife said. She was like, this was the golden child, and I get here and it's all a lie. I got to work.
Yep. Exactly.
And Americans, and particularly people who they could be hearing from all over the world. Some people understand that fact, and some people have a different take on it. But why do people struggle with this? I mean, like creating a financially successful business, because, a lot of times people have great ideas, but they either have problems asking for the money or some other thing. What have you come across?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like you said, like in Germany, I grew up completely different. Like I grew up, like I knew that money was always there, right? But then when I came here, I learned that I have to really work very hard to make money or get time off. Yeah. Like in Germany, we had, whenever I started working, I had a certain amount of vacation days, and the sick days, when you were sick, you still got paid. So when I came here, I had the bad awakening because I had to earn my sick leave. I had to earn my vacation time. And that really threw me off. So basically, my money story before I came here was like, there's abundance of money. I'm always taken care of. But then when I came here and then my ex left me, I'm like, well, shoot, I'm broke. I don't have money. So, my whole language was really that I don't have enough money, that making money is really hard, that you have to work really, really hard to make money and those type of things. And when I started my business, I was so ingrained by this belief that making money is so hard, that you have to work really, really hard, that my business, it was taking me quite a while to really get that off the ground, because I had these beliefs that making money is hard and that money is not, easy to come by. So that was like really the biggest challenge I had. And I see it with a lot of my clients as well. They're not feeling comfortable about asking for the money. I had the same thing. Like, I got to ask people for money. I can actually ask people to pay me. Right. So there's a lot of mindset stuff that was going on for me that really had me struggling. Even with a lot of my clients, that's really and in my industry, in the coaching industry, that's really what I see a lot, is where the entrepreneurs, they don't charge enough. They don't really have a good relationship with money, because it's like this whole lack mindset. If you're looking around, like society teaches us that, making money is hard, that there are so many people that are kind of like in poverty level, right? That they can't afford a lot of things, or they're even teaching you that rich people are evil. Right. So you're growing up learning all these different things around money, which really then affect you when you're trying to grow a business, because you have all these limiting beliefs around money that show up in your business. I know for me, when I was doing a lot of, inner work and healing and those type of things. And one of the things that I learned early on was that rich people, they have to work really hard, and they're kind of snobby, because my uncle actually, he was working really, really hard. Because he had his own business. So he was always working. Whenever we went to visit, he was always busy, never had time really for us, just came upstairs real quick. We had some coffee, some cake, because, in Germany, we like to eat cake around 3:00, right? And coffee time. And, but his wife was very snobby. So I learned as a little kid that, hey, I don't like rich people, because they're really like looking down on you, right? So that was like what I learned. And that's one of the things that I had to overcome too, as I was really growing my business. So a lot of times it's really not so much about the things that you do to grow your business. It's really so much more about how much you believe how successful you can become, and also your beliefs around money. So
what was your pivotal point? Was it over time, or did you have one of those things where you get God smacked and it hits you all of a sudden, like, oh, it's that simple?
Oh, I got smacked by the universal baseball bat way too many times, but still, it was like there was a lot of resistance going on my end, because I'm very much on the spiritual side. So I do, like the Akashic records is more the spiritual modality, whatnot, so that new age kind of things. So I had a hard time really embracing that part and really getting out there and saying, hey, I'm spiritual. I got spiritual gifts. I got superpowers, whatnot. And so I had a really hard time with that. But the thing is, for me, just doing the regular business coaching wasn't what I was supposed to do. And I don't know if you know anything about purpose, but when you're kind of like off purpose, the universe has a funny way of telling you that, hey, this is really not what you're supposed to be doing.
I get depressed when I'm off purpose.
Yeah, that too, because nothing was going anywhere. Yeah, it was very, very difficult for me.
It just does not feel right. And I'm just like,
exactly.
I don't know what your situation is, but often we have these diametrically opposed energies in our life when we're trying to go for a business. For instance, you could be really struggling, but you have a partner who is spiritually pulling away from or giving you the opposite energy that you need to be prosperous or to move forward. How important is it to have, someone in your life that can really support you, because, you can do things on your own. Be like, you stay over there. You do. Hey, boo, you just stay over there. I'm about to go knock this out. But there is a toll, I believe.
Yes, most definitely. You have to have someone in your corner, and especially if you have a spouse that's not really supporting you or doesn't really believe in what you do, it's very, very difficult because, yes, you can do your thing, but then you still need that emotional support, especially when you have like some little setbacks and you're like asking, what's going on or whatnot, and your spouse telling you like, oh, you should get a job or those type of things, or maybe this is not working, then that can be very, very difficult. Or even if your spouse doesn't believe in you. I don't have a spouse, thank God, I guess you can say, but I have a son. What?
You said, thank God.
Spouses complicate things.
Yeah, but, that's true.
I have a son, he's 15 years old. So it took him a little while to really understand, where I was coming from with the whole spiritual stuff. He heard me talking about it all the time, but then I noticed whenever I was trying to do certain things that I felt a little uncomfortable sharing it around him because he didn't really get it. So, I can see like when you have a spouse and the spouse doesn't really get, I had a boyfriend before, right, where he didn't really understand what I was doing. So I felt uncomfortable really, embracing who I am like in front of him. So I was really holding back. So you got to have that support system. And even if it's not a spouse, and even if your spouse, let's say, don't understand what you're doing or it's not really on your side, then at least find someone else. Like I have accountability partners that keep me straight, that kind of support me whenever I have a little setback. Because, they understand what I'm going through, so I can go to them and they kind of support me. But yeah, it is very important that you have those people in your life that where you can really feel comfortable enough to embrace everything that you're doing and not feel like, someone is holding you back.
Yeah. So, what about, we've just talked about the blocks that you can have in a relationship. And the relationship is not always a spouse. It could come from parents. It could come from siblings. It could come from anywhere. And those are ties that are really hard to just say, step off, just go away, leave me alone. I got to do this, because they just don't understand. Also, what about mindset? How does the mindset play? Because I've seen this happen in many relationships, where one individual will have a mindset shift, or their frequency will start to vibrate higher, and then suddenly, boom, the other person is still stuck in that mode. Does that pull away from the person who's trying to vibrate higher?
It depends if they allow it, because you always have a choice to let someone else affect you or not. I've had people where they were very negative. They were talking very negatively, and I'm like, okay, I can allow that to affect me, and then I start taking on their belief. Or I can stand in my power saying, you know what, I understand that this is how you believe, what you believe, that this is how you feel. I choose to believe something different. And then it's really about, checking your energy and having those clear boundaries. And clear boundaries can also be with someone if their energy is not as vibrating as high as yours. I live in a place where a lot of people here, the energy is very, very low. So I kind of stay at home and avoid certain places because I don't feel like I belong there. Like networking events, I avoid them.
What?
Because
really?
Yes, I hate them. I do not like them. I avoid them whenever I can. I haven't been to a networking event in a very long time.
Just because of the vibration of the people. I do understand what you're referring to, because collectively, there's an area which I inhabit, and I said this very early on. I'm like, I don't understand this. I am by a large body of water, very large body of water, yet the vibration is extremely low here. And then I went out to Denver, and I was like, wow, there is hardly any water, because usually when you're by water, because of its electrolyte properties, it's usually very high spiritually. Think Hawaii, think California, think some places like that. Oh, but I do understand exactly what you're referring to. And if those of you who don't understand, it's a feeling.
Yeah. And I live in El Paso, and it's very religious, but not spiritual. So whenever I tell people about what I do, that I channel higher beings, they just look at me kind of funny, like she's totally lost her mind or whatnot. And whenever I went to networking events, I was in there. I was just feeling I had all these weird thoughts like, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. I'm like, what's going on? I mean, I actually believe in myself. I know that I'm good at what I do. But I was in there and I was just like so overwhelmed with all these negative thinking. I'm like, I need to get out of here. And that's why I choose not to go to these networking events anymore, because I'm just very sensitive to that. And I really noticed. And the funny thing is, like, I actually went to Phoenix a few years ago to a conference, and over there it was, oh my God, I felt so great. And then I come back, I literally was crying on my way home. I'm like, I don't like this here. I don't like this here. Mainly because the energy here is so heavy and dense that I choose to do my marketing and networking, everything virtually, because then I can work with people or talk to people that are more in alignment with what I do. And, there are not anyone here anyways that fall into my target audience. So that's another reason why I choose not to go to networking events. But that can really affect you in growing your business. Like, I used to be part of BNI, and that was really before I got into this whole spiritual side. And I was like always questioning myself. I really doubted myself so much. And then when I was coming home, I'm like, why am I questioning myself? I'm good at what I do. But it's because the people didn't really believe in what I was doing. They didn't really see the value in coaching. So for me, I chose that this is not my area of that. I want to.
So how do you unblock yourself? And I'm saying this not only from your perspective, but for the perspective of someone who may be a potential client or someone who's listening.
Well, one of the things that I like to do also with my clients is, like, I tell them, look back over your entire life, as far back as you can go. I mean, start like as early as you can, like, 1 year old. What do you remember around, success, making money, or any of those things? And whatever you can remember, that still holds a negative charge to it. So you want to start working on that. But the first thing is you got to realize all the things that are coming up for you. And I really believe that when it comes to mindset work, it's like peeling back the layer of an onion. You peel one layer back and there's something else. It's like, it's not just that you do something once and then ta-da, you have no more mindset blocks, right? But it's really like a continuous approach to whenever you try to reach new heights, whenever you try to go after a new goal or try to achieve something, you are going to come up with resistance. And the resistance could be doubt, fear, limiting beliefs, things that you experienced, yourself or through other people, or even things that you've learned through society, through your family. Because when you're born, I mean, you're like a clean slate. You don't know nothing. You're like a brand new computer that just came out the box. But then as you're growing up, you're being programmed with all these programs from, you got to work really hard to make money. It's not really that easy to grow a business. And, rich people, or even all those different things are being programmed into you. So you start believing them to be true. So when you're out there and trying to achieve a goal or go for that next higher goal or whatnot, or make that income that you want to make, and those type of things, anything that you want to do that is outside of your comfort zone, that is not your normal thing, you're going to come up to resistance, because then you're having questions like, am I really good enough? Can I really do this? What happens if I achieve that? And then, oh my God, I'm afraid of the success. And what do people then think of me when I achieve that success? There's so much stuff that's coming at you then. And it's really realizing then, and then reframe it that, what, I can do this. It's not that bad. I can achieve this. I'm not going to die if I achieve the success or whatnot. But it starts with, noticing what is really going on. What is that mindset chatter that you keep, repeating? And then you really start working on that to really release that and basically reprogram your mind.
So are you doing any workshops? Are you doing any online items? What groups do you have? How can people find you?
Oh boy, there's a lot of things. So I just started my own podcast today, actually. So that's a new thing. It's called Awaken to Empower. So you can go to awakentoempower.com.
Awesome.
And then my website is ksanders.com. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook. I don't really do any workshops or anything like that.
How dare you?
Not yet. I will. I need to move first. And then I want to do in-person workshops.
That's what Zoom is for.
I don't like it. Tried that. Don't really like it.
Enough said. Enough said. Can't persuade you. I'm not a pusher. I'm not going to push you into it.
No, No, I like the engagement. I know for me, the next step is I need to be in front of people. That's where I can, feel the energy or whatnot. Because I have done, videos, I've done workshops, I've done webinars, summits, you name it. I've done it all. And so, but now for me, the next step is actually going to be in-person workshops. But yeah, another thing is, I have a membership as well. So that's kind of like how I then basically, that's like the workshops that I do, is the pre-recorded webinars that are in my membership.
So if you and I were walking into a building, we didn't know each other from Sam, and I hold the door open for you, you go in, and we end up only you and I in an elevator, and I look over, I see this nice looking woman, and I go, "Hey, how are you? My name's Emmett." And I say, and we got like 30 floors to go up, and I say, "What do you do?"
Oh, you're asking for my elevator pitch?
Yup. You got that, huh?
Well, you said 30 floors, in the elevator. So yeah, I've been around. Well, basically, I help heart-centered entrepreneurs to really awaken to who they are so they can step into their power and so they can go out and make the impact that they're here to make in a much, much, much larger scale.
And who's your perfect customer?
I work a lot with the heart-centered entrepreneurs, like coaches, healers, light workers. Those are really the ones that I love to work with. They're like within the first few years of being in business, who's at the point right now who really wants to make the impact, but hasn't really been able to make that initial, breakthrough where they have a consistent flow of clients, the consistent flow of income. That's really my sweet spot.
All right. Cool. So, and it's so that's kind of a common name. Are you the only one on Facebook?
I believe so. You can go to ksanders.com, and I think all my links are on there too.
All right. When's the book? Yeah, so when you going to start publishing all those books?
Well, I already have one back there, and I have another one in a box over there.
Why is it in the box? What's the name of the books?
Okay, the first one I wrote is the Coaching Business Blueprint. So it really teaches like the basic things on how to start a coaching business. That one back here is Message of Inspiration. That's 365 inspirational, motivational quotes that I channel.
And for those of you who cannot see, because she and I are Zooming each other, and you guys won't be able to see it, where can they find them?
All of them are on Amazon.
Awesome.
Just type in K Sanders or KR Sanders and all my books will come up. I have some planners and stuff too.
That's KAYSA.
Yes. SANDERS.
And the reason I say that is because some people spell their names with a U.
Yeah, I heard about that. Not me. See, when I chose that name, I chose it for a reason. It sounded great.
It does sound, it does. Well, I want to thank you for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast. You've been awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is what happens every day. Every day. You get up. Actually, you don't even get up. You wake up. And you hear what that says? You're in the flow. You wake up. And you take a moment to become conscious. You listen to the sounds of your surroundings and you feel your heart beating, and then you get up, you may groan a little bit, creak a little bit, you work your way to the bathroom. And here's what you should do. Make sure you stop at the mirror and look directly in that face, because you need to get close to it, get to know you. Look into the eyes that are looking back at you, because we are fractal beings. Your eyes that are in your head are like nebulae in the sky. As above, so below. When you think about it, you are all billionaires. It started with your parents. Two things met. There was energy from the cosmos that caused them to dance. 2 became 4, 4 became 8. 8 becomes 16, 16, 32, 64, 128, on and on and on, till 30 days later, you were over 1 billion cells and you weren't even in the world yet. So you are a billionaire. The problem is, as we talked about, our history gets in the way. Let it go. Remember, yesterday is gone, tomorrow's not here yet. We only have the now. So, right now, decide what you want to be. Decide how you want to feel. decide that it is better. If you're at the end of your rope, here's an action for you. You're not falling off, so you have enough to tie a knot. And with that knot, you can keep hanging till you get your breath and pull yourself up. Till next time, love you all. Peace.